This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Send Help is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We're somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand.
Getting us out of here should be your focus. I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore.
It's bold, relentless, and endlessly rewatchable. Discover why critics give it 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You're so fired.
Oh, am I? No help is coming.
Send Help, rated R, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
The 2-week pay period, invented in 1938 and still making us wait until daily pay, where everyone can access their money on demand. This is the future of pay. Learn more at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
Hello, Eagles and draft fans. Welcome to the Big-Legged Waistbenders podcast. I am to be your host. Today, we will be discussing something that 80% of us are sick of discussing, so I apologize in advance. Arthur Juan Brown, Swole Batman, a guy who at his peak was one of the 3 best wide receivers, not in the NFC East, not in the NFC, in the NFL, in the world. He was one of the 3 best, most impactful wide receivers in the world. And one of the most impactful weapons on offense, not at the quarterback position, in the world. For the better part of 3 seasons with us in Philadelphia. And he's a big part of the reason we went to the Super Bowl in 22 and did well. He's a big part of the reason we went to the Super Bowl in 24 and won. But the thing about A.J. Brown, when we acquired him, there was always a use-by date attached to his knee. That's part of the reason probably why he was not able to work out the money with Tennessee, and we were able to acquire him. We know that he had some diva-esque personality traits. We know he had a questionable long-term outlook due to some chronic knee issue of some sort. I don't understand the details. And you had to know that his peak was going to end a little sooner. I wouldn't say no, but you had to guess that his peak was going to end a little sooner than people anticipated. I anticipated that it was going to end early because of those factors. I anticipated he would start to wear out his welcome as his knees started to wear out and he was less effective. And that's kind of what happened. In 2025, A.J. Brown was not the same receiver he was in 2022. He was not the same receiver he was in most of 2023. He was not the same receiver he was in most of 2024. He just was not. At the end of the season, Matt Harmon with Reception Perception put out an A.J. Brown reception chart where he shows the success rate on certain routes. And on every deep route, he was below average. He was below NFL average. Everyone. And all year long, they kept forcing balls down. I shouldn't say all year. Early in the year, they did treat A.J. Brown, for the most part, like he was the 3rd weapon in the offense behind Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith. And in my opinion, that was the appropriate use of A.J. Brown. A lot of people were clamoring that it was not. And I could understand why you would feel that way as fans. You don't study the tape for like a living. You don't. And all you got to go by is what reporters say and what you see on Sundays on your television that doesn't even show you the all 22. It doesn't even show you all 22 players on the field. You can't stop and rewind it. You don't have the whole field. you're watching this sport and you're expecting that 28-year-old A.J. Brown, or whatever age he was at the beginning of the season, was able to do the same things he was able to do just like 6 months to a year prior. The thing is, though, starting in the first year, you would see A.J. Brown get up gingerly every time he fell down. And then in 2023, he didn't finish the season. And then in 2024, he almost did not finish the season. He got hurt at the end of the year, if you guys remember correctly. And in that first game back against Green Bay, he was not the same guy. He slipped once on like a comeback route. And after that, they intentionally used him less. He wasn't even a top target in the offense the rest of that game, despite it being a playoff game, despite it determining the outcome of their season if they lost that game. They decided, let's not risk further aggravation to A.J. Brown's injury, whatever it was late in the season 2024. Might have been an ankle, might have been his knee, might have been a combination, I don't know. Let's not further aggravate the injury. Let's play conservative like we have all year long. We have a lead right now in Green Bay, whose offense we know is not good. And they played it safe, and they won the game. And he was not a top target. The next game, in the snow, he looked a little bit more spry. Didn't play super well, dropped some balls. Might have had to do with the snowy conditions. Whatever, you overlook it. Then he played the Washington game. He looked mostly like his old self. I wouldn't say 100%, I'd say 90. And in the Super Bowl, he was more like 90% his old self again. Again, I wouldn't say 100%, but 90. He was a weapon in those two games. But the signs were there that gradually each year he was wearing down. And there were some statistical signs of that as well, like his yards after the catch on slants was going down slightly every year. There's several different metrics this past year in 2025. I mentioned Matt Harmon's reception perception table. But folks, all you needed was your own eyes. I can't remember the exact game. It was very early in the season. He started off slow. First couple games, he clearly was not a top target in the offense for Jalen Hurts. And some of that could be A.J. Brown was getting healthy. And some of that could be Jalen Hurts is a big guy on reps. And he's a bit obstinate about reps. And he wants to rep what's going on with his guys all week, especially, before he decides to make you a top target in the offense. It's just how he is. So between A.J. Brown missing most of camp and him not being 100% at the beginning of the year, I thought it was logical and not surprised that he was not a top target the first couple weeks. But then I noticed something early in the season. I can't remember the exact game, week 2, week 3, week 4. I can't remember. Hurts was lofting a soft toss to A.J. Brown somewhere down the sidelines. To the right sidelines. I think it was maybe like a 15-yarder or something like that. It wasn't super deep. A.J. Brown knew early the ball was coming his way, and he started to create separation. Now, when you think about A.J. Brown historically in his career on balls downfield, one-on-one balls downfield, where it's almost like a 50-50 ball, you would see him do a little nudge with his elbow, almost imperceptible to the referee, maybe a little arm bar. And he would create a little bit of separation physically because he's so dense and so strong for a wide receiver. And at the last second, he would use his advanced ball tracking ability and take an extra explosive stride and catch the ball. And there's still oftentimes be some contact and some collision with the cornerback at the catch point as he's catching the ball. But he would create a little bit of a early separation and then late track the ball and catch it. And he'd still get hit or bumped into half the time as he was catching the ball anyway, even after creating that little bit of physical separation. Fast forward to 2025 and this weird rep that will forever stand out in my mind early in the season. A.J. Brown starts to create the separation physically by pushing on the guy's back, par for the course normal, except he was doing it way too early. It was like, the ball had not left the quarterback's hands. He was just getting ready to throw. And A.J. Brown's creating the separation. He's behind him. He's got him stacked. And he's not running right away to where the ball's going. The ball comes out in the air, and A.J. Brown still has his arm on that wide receiver's back, and he's waiting for that ball to get over his head almost before he starts to go towards it. So, number one, he's creating the separation physically earlier than usual. Number two, he's trying to go and track the ball way later than usual, which tells me he was trying to create more space for himself at the catch point so he did not get bumped into as he caught the ball, which tells me he was protecting himself against an injury. And folks, that one rep scared the crap out of me because I'm like, something ain't right here. That was weird. And it went on just about all season. Anytime the ball was thrown downfield to A.J. Brown, where it was a 50-50 ball, he was making half-assed efforts to catch the ball. He was trying to slow down and create separation physically earlier and then, track the ball late in the air, too late. And it was obvious to me that he did not trust himself physically, and he was afraid of some sort of weird chronic injury he had. The only one I know about is his knee. It's the reason, reportedly, why the Rams balked at trading for him just this offseason was the knee. But I digress. And this whole thing with A.J. Brown not catching the ball downfield in one-on-one situations, it was less about effort. And yes, effort was an issue all year for A.J. Brown, but it was less about effort and more about there was something wrong with him physically, and he was afraid of aggravating it or hurting himself. And by the way, he was also slightly less explosive. And explosion is not top measured speed. You can't put like these new radar chips or whatever the heck they're called. I don't even know what they're called on players and track their top speed that they hit in the game and say, oh, look, he hit his top speed that he normally hits. He's just as fast as always. That's not how football's played, folks. It's not, oh, once you hit your top speed running in a straight line, how fast is that speed? That is a small measure of your athleticism on a football field. With A.J. Brown, it was never about top speed. I mean, to some extent, yes, but it was mostly about that one explosive stride that he had combined with his physicality. And that one explosive stride was not there this year in 2025. So number one, he was protecting himself deep down the field at the catch point, afraid of certain types of collisions. He was like he was afraid of collisions when he was blocking all year long. He barely blocked. And it wasn't just effort. You could tell he was scared of something wrong with his leg every time he blocked. He was practically looking down at it as he blocked half the time, thinking, oh, I don't want to get hurt. So slightly less explosive, protecting against some sort of injury, and it's well known that he has a chronic knee issue. And the last 3 years, he struggled to finish the season healthy. All good things must come to an end. This drama everybody wants to create to figure out, oh, what went wrong? Why did they stop becoming friends? Oh, he only wants to leave because he doesn't like Jalen Hurts. If there's some truth to all that crap, fine. I don't care. If I'm the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, no way I'm keeping a diva who wants number one wide receiver targets when he's no longer physically the number one wide receiver on the team. Devonta Smith, in my mind, in all of 2025, was the number one wide receiver. And too often, he was getting wide receiver number 2 looks. And it hurt the offense. It wasn't just KP hurting the offense. It wasn't just the faults in Jalen Hurts hurting the offense. It wasn't just the injuries of the offensive line hurting the offense. It was that they started force-feeding the ball. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but they started force-feeding the ball to Arthur Juan Brown. And they should not have. The only argument for continuing to force him the ball is you're giving him up. You're giving up on the season. You don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl, and you just want to artificially maintain his trade value. And I could see an argument for that, even though it's not a very honest way of going about things, and it can sacrifice wins and losses for your team. And by the way, it did in the playoffs, despite all our other faults. If Arthur Brown was not on the field, we win that freaking football game. We would not have been eliminated in week 1 of the postseason. Think about that for a second. Anyway, I digress. So AJ did not have guaranteed money of any significant amount after 2026. And his 2026 money didn't necessarily have to be paid out till late in the offseason, which created a situation where you could trade him, get rid of that 2026 bonus hit that is guaranteed, and then not be on the hook for a ton of future money. And that's what makes him attractive to other teams in the trade, is it's not that huge of a risk for them. And that's part of the reason why he was losing his mind this season, by the way. Why do you think he wanted all those targets? Now, part of it's just his personality as a competitor, but come on, people. He didn't have guaranteed money after this year. He was probably going nuts behind the scenes with his agent. He wanted that guaranteed dollars, and Howie Roseman was not providing it. He was not. So Howie Roseman was sending a message. Actions speak louder than words. He wasn't giving him the guaranteed future money that I'm sure A.J. Brown wanted. A.J. Brown was not getting the targets he wanted. He wanted a new situation, one where whoever traded for him was likely to give him more guaranteed money, and which I suspect the Patriots will probably do before this offseason's over in some capacity, and a situation where he's going to get those number one targets. Because what was Jalen Hurts kept repeatedly saying throughout the season this year with his issues with A.J. Brown, especially early in the season when he wasn't targeting A.J. a lot? He was saying, I have to do what's best for the collective. Translation, feeding you number one targets is not what's best for this football team right now. That's part of what Jalen Hurts was saying without actually saying it. So this divorce was not about any drama that some faceless weirdo on Twitter is spreading. It's not about A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts' friendship. It's not about that stuff as much as it was about money and football. From a football standpoint, he was no longer a number one dude. And if he regains health, it will probably just be temporary for a year or two. So that's number one. It might not even last a season, because lately it hasn't, his health, lasted a season. 2 out of the last 3 seasons, actually all 3 of the last 3 seasons, he's had periods of time where he wasn't healthy. In 2025, it was the whole season. In 2024, it was chunks of the season. In 2023, he didn't finish the season. So even if he regains back to his 90% A.J. Brown self, shows more effort, and also regains some of that explosion, and maybe doesn't have to protect his knee as much, even if he regains that, it's probably temporary. So from a football standpoint, are you going to guarantee $25, $30 million a year for the next couple of years to a guy like that? That's not a good football decision. So the Eagles are making a good football decision if he wants off the team, giving him what he wants, and A.J. Brown is making a good decision from a businessman in terms of what's in his best interest. All the other drama is secondary. A.J. Brown wants to go to a situation where he's more likely to get those number one wide receiver targets because it wasn't going to happen here in 2026. It was not. He wanted to go to a better situation where he's more likely to get those targets to a team that was desperate for a wide receiver one. So this is a team, the Pats, who are win now mode, who think that they might have, if A.J. Brown regains his health temporarily, a wide receiver one, a go-to guy in the postseason. So they're taking a chance because wide receivers are hard to get in this league. It is the second hardest position to fill after quarterback in the National Football League in the year 2026 of our Lord. It's no longer about defensive ends, folks. That's not the league anymore. Wide receivers are hard to acquire, and the rate of increase of their pay year after year in the NFL is skyrocketing. And good wide receivers half the time aren't lasting until the second round in NFL drafts anymore. In a draft that was just considered mediocre wide receiver, where even most of the top guys were more ideal as wide receiver 2 type talents, not wide receiver 1s for your football team. Even a year like that, we saw an incredible amount of them drafted in the first couple rounds. So that's the state of the league at wide receiver. Another team might find themselves in a worse situation than you, and they're willing to trade for your damaged goods. And our intelligent general manager played it right, played it smart. He got his June 1st money. So this way he had a little bit more flexibility in the cap to add players for this season, and he got his first round pick. And this whole thing, A.J. Brown, best player in the world, let's get multiple picks. Folks, these teams have guys working the tape like I work the tape. They're not fans. They study the tape. I'm sure most of these teams saw what I saw. And I'm sure in terms of his physical decline, I'm sure most of these teams have seen his diva behavior on top of it and know that he wants more guaranteed money after 2026. And they probably don't want to deal with a headache. So this idea that you were getting multiple first-round picks for A.J. Brown, it was fantasy. And it was based off the remembrance of what he was in 2023, 2022. Some parts of 2024. It's not based off what A.J. Brown was in 2025. It's not what A.J. Brown is likely to be in the future. So good job by Howie Roseman playing this situation perfect. Good job by Jeffrey Lurie walking onto the football field so everybody could see, almost Sicilian style. A.J., we love you. I want to hear your concerns. Maybe you could stop talking so much, publicly to the social media and be a good teammate. And if you don't, maybe you're not going to get what you want, because we all know what you want at this point. You want to be traded. So I commend Jeffrey Lurie for dealing with the situation and shutting A.J. Brown up late in the season. And I'm just glad it's over. I'm sick of hearing about Diana Rossini. I was sick of her long before she was caught at that adults-only resort out in Arizona. She clearly was being fed information to increase the odds that maybe we'd be willing to part with A.J. Brown without a first-round pick. Well, Howie Roseman, God bless him, everybody knows he's going to play hardball. He was not going to separate from A.J. Brown any point early in this offseason, or maybe even late offseason, without that first-round pick, even if it was a future first. So kudos to Howie for that. He can play poker, my friends. This is one of the areas where Howie Roseman shines. Anyway, I'm looking forward to moving on in a post-A.J. Brown future. I'm sure that this offense that they brought in and this group of receivers that they brought in, you can't replace A.J. Brown with one player. You can, but it's unlikely because he was such a stud before 2025. They're going to have to do it with some scheme. They're going to have to do it with a collection of players and kind of spread the ball around more. So I'm looking forward to the new look offense. Thank you, A.J. Brown, for what you've done for us as the Eagles so long. And I bid you well. I don't want A.J. Brown to not succeed wherever he's going. I'm not harboring bad feelings against him. But I'm going to call the situation for what he was. He became a bit of a cancer this season for the team. He did. I don't care how many positive glowing reports you get about him from reporters about how he was in the facility. There's no way you can complain about not getting targets after a Minnesota game where your offense just scored a bunch of points and you played well and not be a cancer and then complain repeatedly throughout the year. It's just no way. I'm sorry. Now, there's different levels of cancer. I wouldn't say it was Terrell Owens level, but part of that is because our quarterback handled it well. Jalen Hurts was probably not falling for the nonsense and taking the bait and overreacting, and he was repeating that he had love for A.J. Brown. That's not exactly how Donovan McNabb handled the situation with Terrell Owens years ago. So yeah, A.J. Brown probably wasn't all bad behind the scenes and was in many ways a good teammate. That doesn't mean he wasn't somewhat cancerous to the team this year. I mean, we would have been flat out better with him off the football team, frankly, because he would not have accepted a possession plus receiver role as a number 3 target. He would not have accepted it. And that was the only way he was going to make us a better football team in 2025. So thank you, A.J. Brown, for the memories. Thank you for the Super Bowl appearances. We move. Go Birds.
Comcast is delivering extraordinary experiences in live sports. Through the incredible broadcast and storytelling from NBC, innovative and personalized viewing features on Xfinity and Peacock, and the country's most reliable Wi-Fi, viewers can enjoy every game-changing play faster and more seamlessly than ever. All on a network built to deliver unforgettable moments as close to live as possible. The ultimate experience for the American sports fan. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/sports.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs, so you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
Experience a membership that backs your business journey with American Express Business Platinum. When you pay with membership rewards points for all or part of an eligible flight booked with a qualifying airline through Amex Travel, you can get 35% of those points back, up to 1 million points back per calendar year. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.